Hi guys, I'm going to show you how I fix makeup mistakes with my makeup. I have all cream-based makeup, so it's very forgiving, and that's partially why I use this makeup. One of the many reasons, because if I do mess up or I put the makeup in the wrong place, use the wrong color, the shade's too dark, whatever it is, I like this makeup because it's very easy to blend out, it's very easy to correct if I do happen to mess up. So I want to show you guys how you can fix makeup mistakes with this makeup, or if you're using any cream-based products. I'm also going to show you with my eyeshadow that if I mess up or I get something on too dark or put it in the wrong place, how I can fix that and what I do to fix that. I hope that this is helpful for you guys when you mess up with your makeup. Starting with my foundation, I'm just going to start putting my makeup on and show you things that I have messed up on in the past, some things that I still mess up on, and how I can fix them. Most of the time you can fix the problem, but sometimes you just have to wipe the area off. That's just how it goes. Like my eyebrows. Most of the time I'm able to fix my eyebrows to where I want them. Say the shapes aren't the same, I can go in and fix it with my finger, and I can shape it with my finger. But then if I wipe too much off, that's of course not a problem because I can go in and refill them. Or if a shade's too dark on one side of my eyebrows than the other, something that I do like to do, I guess I'm not starting with my foundation, but I'll show you with my eyebrows. Something that I like to do is I like to take a pair of tweezers, and I like to go in through the dark places where, say, there was more color on this side than there was on this side. Then I go in with my tweezers and I take the very pointy end and I scrape it up through the hairs and through the makeup, and it creates anti-strokes. I did this in my last video when I was doing my eyebrows, so if you want to see how I do my eyebrows, check this video out that I will link below. But this is a great way that if the makeup is really close, if your eyebrows are really close and you just need to fix a few things, using some tweezers to go through and swipe some anti-hairs that creates white lines instead of the dark lines, it helps to lessen the shade of that eyebrow. So just keep that in mind when you are going to fix your eyebrows. During summer and fall transition, you have summer makeup, and then you go into the fall and your skin's getting a little bit lighter, and say you haven't worn makeup for a week or even a month or however long it's been, but then you go in with your regular color that you were using for the summer, and now it's fall time and your skin's a lot lighter, it's not going to look very good. So you can go in and fix that really simply with this makeup if you have a lighter shade on you. So for instance, this is my palette today, and this is the color Wheat, and I pulled this out for this video just to show you. This color is too dark for me in the sense that it creates too much of a yellow tone. Well, over here, this is a brightening color that I usually use for my under eye. Well, I've discovered that if I put this on and I put a little bit of this over the top, it helps to balance out the yellow, and it helps to balance out the depth of that shade on my skin. Now in the camera, you can't tell very well, but in person you can definitely tell that this shade is too yellow for my skin. I'm about 1 to 2 shades lighter, but the beauty about this makeup is that I can go in with that lighter shade. So I'm going to go into my Aura. This one's called Wheat. This is Aura. And I'm going to go in and just kind of top over the Wheat that I put on, and it helps to balance out that yellow because my skin is not quite as warm as the Wheat foundation highlight is. And even do this for like future. Now I can go in and mix and then dip into this one with it. And then they mix together really well, and it really helps to match my color a lot better. Now the best thing to do is to get the shade that will match your skin, and I have a link down below if you have a hard time picking out your foundation shades. Click the link below, you fill out a few questions, and I help you pick out your colors if you need that. There are also, if you go to the website that I link below, there is also some pre-picked shades, and there are examples of people's skin tones, and you can find one that's closest to your skin tone, and it will give you the colors on the website what are highly recommended for those specific skin tones. So you can check those out too if you prefer to do it kind of on your own. Next thing is this concealer or a brightening color under your eye. Say you get the wrong color, it's too dark or it's way too light. It's going to be very similar to adjusting the color like you did with the foundation highlight color. If it's too light, then you're going to go pick a shade that's a little bit darker, and you're going to help add that into it. If you're just looking like you've just got these white circles around your eyes, then you can either wipe it off, blend it in, and blending is a really great option. If I get too much concealer under my eye, say I have like just a big streak under my eye. I'm going to try to be pretty exaggerated under my eye. I don't usually put a lot of makeup under my eye. As I've aged, it just looks really bad. But say you get a huge swipe under your eye and you just have too much under there. It's just way too much. You can see how bright it is under my eye just looking at that. Well, the great thing about the creams is that they are incredibly forgiving because they blend so well, and they don't set until you set it with setting powder or setting spray. So it can blend, it can move, it can do whatever you want, and you can add, you can build, whatever it is that you want to. You can even just take a finger and swipe it off, and it's not going to do anything. It's not going to look bad. But in this case, I will just blend that color out to make it look just as natural as possible, as well as using it to help cover some of the darkness around my eyes. So I'm just going to take some of that color and bring it up around my eyes and use that as a primer, like so. And I'm just doing the slightest, really gentle motions. But now if you see me in person, it doesn't look like I have a lot of product under my eye at all, if any, if you can tell at all. If the makeup you feel like you put too much on or the color's too light, just take your brush and blend it out. That is one of the best things to do with cream makeup, is blend it out. And again, if you have a huge chunk, you just know it's just way too much, then just take your finger and wipe that off a little bit and then start blending it from there. But that is the beauty about this makeup, is that it will move until I set it. So if I do the rest of my makeup and I want to go under my eyes before I set it and I want to move some more of that product around, I can, because the makeup is not set yet. So just remember, it has a lot of movement available to it before it's set. Now I'm going to go in with my contour, which is this color right here. Currently I'm using Olive. Say you have a contour, and let's do wrong placement first of all. Say I bring it just like way too low. Okay, I just bring it way too low. Let's see if I can exaggerate this a little bit better. Just bring it way too low. And I totally get the shape wrong. It just isn't right. Well, what I would do is first I would wipe some of that off, and I can go in and touch up with my foundation color. And then I'm going to leave it alone for a while because my skin's going to be a little red wherever I touched it. And then I'm going to try to lift that contour up wherever I did it, because I did it a little bit too low. And I'm just going to try to drag that upwards, okay? Then I'm going to take the blending side of my brush and again drag that upwards and outwards, because I don't want my contour to draw my face down. I want it to lift it up. Now again, this is a contour, this is a cream contour, so it is going to move wherever I want it to. And if I still feel like it's too low, I'll just take a little bit of my finger, wipe it off a little bit wherever it is, and then take that color and blend it up. It's very hard to mess this makeup up. When I first started using this makeup, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where I was putting it, if I was putting it in the right place. I really just didn't have a clue. But the great thing about it is that when I put the makeup on, and if I felt like I put it in the wrong place, it was so easy to fix. I didn't feel like I had messed up my whole face and have to start all over again. So that is really nice with this makeup, is how forgiving it is, especially for noobs and people that don't know what they're doing. Say you get the wrong shade of contour. It's either too ashy, or it has too many red undertones, or it's just too warm for your skin. Well, again, if you get the wrong color, blend it out. But if you have way too much, take your finger and just wipe a lot of it off, and then blend it out into the contour areas where you would normally put your contour, and then go and find the correct shade. Contour colors can shift from a little bit more ashy to a little bit more warm, depending on how warm your skin is or how cool your skin is. So mine is pretty neutral, so I can get away with a lot of colors, I feel like. But when I get something that's too warm, it just looks red on me. So I will wipe it off, and I will go in and put the regular color in and just blend them together, and it helps to balance that out. Another great thing about when you mess up with this makeup is that this is a 1-layer makeup application. What does that mean? It means I'm only putting one color in each area. I'm not putting one color on, then a color on top of that, then a color on top of that. I'm just placing the colors in the areas I want them and where they need to go, and then I put the next color next to it. I don't put it on top of it, and then I kind of blend them together depending on where it's at. So that helps when you do mess up, so that you're not messing up all the layers underneath, because there are no layers underneath. It's just that makeup that's on top of your skin. If the one layer makeup method is a thing that you enjoy, it's really, really easy and simple that way. Very similar with bronzer. I'm gonna use this bronzer right here. It's just my regular bronzer. So I'm gonna put some up here and right here. And if you get too much bronzer, then what I would recommend is to go and get like a clean foundation or blending brush. And I would use this. This is actually the Blush Up Bronzer brush. This is a great application for applying bronzer. But in this case, this is the brush I've been applying the bronzer with. I'm gonna go in with a clean brush if I feel like I've just got way too much bronzer on. So let's try to put way too much bronzer on. Let's see if I can show you this. It's hard to mess your makeup up or want to mess your makeup up when you know what to do. And I would buff the color that I'd put on there, buff it out, and then I would take my brush, wipe it off on like a microfiber cloth, and go back in and buff it wherever I feel like there's too much. All right, brush it off and brush it off. Okay, so say you got a lot of that bronzer off, but it's still like you feel like it's just too bronzy, it's not matching your neck. Just do this. Go into your bronzer and take that color on your neck and help to make it match the color on your face so it doesn't seem so far out of place and you don't seem over bronzed. I do this anyway when I wear bronzer typically, is I typically take that bronzer down my neck. If you already have a darker neck and a lighter face, you may not need to do that, so keep that in mind. My neck is definitely lighter than my face in general, and then when I put a bronzer on, it's really lighter, so I tend to need to put some bronzer on my neck anyway when I do put it on my face. All right, that'll just help to balance it out and to offset the over excessive bronzer on your face. But remember, clean brush, using a microfiber cloth to clean it off, and then also taking that color on your neck to help balance that out. We're gonna do blush. I'm gonna find, this is the blush I have in my palette right now. It's a nude color, but I'm gonna see if I can find something a little bit more dramatic for you. Ooh, here's a good one. This one's actually a beautiful color. This is called Ruby. It does have a lot of pink undertones, but it has a little bit more red than it looks like in the camera. But I'm going to apply my blush, and we're gonna start with, first of all, we'll just say that we have it in the wrong place. Let's say I put my bronzer too far in. So I typically like to keep my did I say bronzer? Let's say I put my blush too far in. I like to keep my blush about the outer corner of my eye and up. But let's say I put it too far in, just straight below. So I'm kind of looking like those little dolls, okay? If that's the case, here's what you can do. First of all, clean your brush off. Clean your brush off. All right, get that clean. And make sure there's no excess color on there. If you need to, you can wipe it off, but if you have layers underneath, say you don't like the one layer makeup method, then you can ever so slightly just start taking that color and outward, okay? Now I'm gonna take that clean brush and I'm gonna drag this color up to where I want it, all right? I'm just gonna drag this along. And it's still too far in, so I'm just gonna keep working that color upward and outward, all right? I'm also gonna take my finger and just wipe off where it's really dramatic. Now I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute because my skin, when I touch my skin, it actually brings blood to the surface, so I can't tell between the blush and my blood. So I'm gonna let that set and go to the other side and show you the other mistake that you can make with blush, which would be like the wrong color. Say this is the wrong color for me. It just doesn't work. I actually love this color on me, but I have to use just a tiny bit. Say it's the wrong color though, and I put it in the right place, which I like about right here, okay? And I'm blending it up and I'm just like, oh, this color is just awful. It's hideous, I don't like it. Well, great thing again about these blushes is they are also cream based. And the beauty about these blushes is that they go so well together. So I would go into, say, a more neutral color like nude and be like, this is just too pink. I need a little bit more neutral. I can go into a nude, or I can go into more of like a really light peachy color, just depending on what kind of mix I want. And if it helps you to do some swatches on your hand, take that color that you don't like and do some swatches of colors and mix and match your lip and cheek colors. So I would go into the nude, and I'm like, you know what, I need to just unpinkify this color. So I would put the nude on there, and it will help to make the pink go away and just do more of like this natural flush. And I'm just gonna blend this out. Now that I've let this side set, it's just still too pink. So I'm actually gonna go in with that color that I had, and I'm gonna bring it to where I want it to be, which is right here. And I'm gonna blend that up. It's just always so much, so I'm just gonna. Okay, now that I've put the blush in the right place where on the side that's messed up, now I'm gonna go in and just kind of clean up some of this area. I've wiped it off as best as I can with my finger. In this case, I would either go and use a cloth and wipe off the redness, or you can also go in with your main foundation highlight color and place it on the area that you don't want that color. So like for mine, where I misplaced it was this inner part. I want to neutralize that out, all right? All right, so now they look a little bit more balanced, but if you don't want to be using makeup to cover makeup, then go get a cloth and wipe that off and then start over again. If you have any foundation on there, just kind of patch it and put it right there and just clean that up and help blend it in with the rest of the makeup. Okay, the final mess up that I'm going to show you guys is with like an eyeshadow. Say you are just starting out with makeup, or you accidentally put a shade on and you put way too much on your eyes. When I start out with my eyeshadow colors, I typically start with my light colors first and I build into the shade that I want. But when I first started out with makeup, I would go in with the dark colors first. So if you happen to do this and you haven't learned or you don't know how to blend that out yet, let's show you how I start with a dark color and how I would fix that. I'm gonna dip into this dark color right here, which is called Trust. And again, this is more of like a finishing color and I just use it for accenting. But say I put it just too much. It's just too dark right off the bat. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit more. I'm a little nervous. And I just put way too much and just, I want a lighter color. I want it to be a lighter shade. And this just feels like it's gonna be a little bit too dark. Now, the best thing to do when you do that is to just start blending and make sure you clean your brush off. So I would go back in with the microfiber cloth, or I would go into my tile cleaner. So I'm going to start blending that color out and up, and I'm taking a little bit in and doing like a windshield wiper motion, all right? And I just want to start blending that color. So you can already see it's diffusing it quite well. It started out really, really dark, but now I'm just diffusing it out to help it blend into the rest of my skin, into the shades of my skin a lot better. So it's still fairly dark, and if you are not looking for a look that dark, then what I would do is I would actually go into one of my lighter colors. So this I would consider a fairly dark color for me. And then this shade right here is just like a lighter color. That would be the shade I would typically start with. This one is called Valencia. To start lightening that color up, I'm not going to go into a medium shade because I just don't feel like it would lighten it up enough for the look that I want. Say, that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to go into my lighter shade, which is Valencia over here, and I'm going to start blending the outer edges of that dark color. So I'm going to dip in with that and go to the outer edges of that Trust color and start blending that. So I'm just taking that Valencia and just taking it on the outer edges and then pulling it into the center of the color to take away that depth. To me it looks pretty good, but if I want to soften it even more, just again take that lighter color and build that lighter color on the outer edges of that dark color. And you can already see how much it's lightened up the Trust. If it looks horrible, again, the best thing to do is just get a cloth, wipe it off, reprime your eye, and start over. But if you are looking for a quick solution and you feel like you can salvage, then try that technique. And I'm just going to go in and just blend this a little bit more. Eyeshadow just really comes down to lots of blending, guys. Again, that was another thing I tried to get around, but there's no way around it. It's just to make it look the best that it can look, it's all about the blending. I often get mascara on my upper lid because of my hooded eye. So it's a common place where I will get a mess up. So if I mess it up like right there, to say that's a accidental mess up. And I'm going to wait till it dries. I'm not going to play with it. And I'm not going to take a cloth and wipe it because it's on my eyeshadow. And if I do a swipe, any swipe on my eyeshadow, it's going to show up. It's going to look like just this little white spot. And I don't want that. Take the spoolie and just ever so slightly get those mascara bits off of there. And you'll notice it doesn't affect my eyeshadow at all. And that's it. Very, very easy. Makeup mistakes that I've made in the past and some makeup mistakes that I still make, and these are solutions and ways that I get around those mistakes and fixing my makeup. As you can see, it's very simple. You don't have to wipe the whole face off most of the time. I think you can get away with that. Just be cautious, take your time, and use some of these tips for you and your makeup. Again, all of my makeup is cream based except for my eyeshadow, so it does help to simplify the fixing process. So keep that in mind when if you're using cream based makeup. All right, I'm gonna go set my makeup. I hope you guys have a great Sunday today, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Thanks for watching, guys.